Presentations were very well done and received. So we'll start off with our first question, and we'll do it as a general question we've discussed previously. Let's start out with something simple. So what is your definition of cloud computing in the financial services industry in Asia Pacific? I mean, that's kind of a question that's kind of evolving, especially in financial services. I guess the point of my question is, and we were able to see in the Philippines specifically, that regulatory bodies are very hesitant to allow cloud computing technology to go to core systems. So based on your experience, how would you define cloud computing in the financial services industry? And since we've got a short period of time, where do you see the future of this going? Or where are we now? Definition, where are we now and where are we going? Marks.
Okay. Definition of cloud. Definitely, I mean, if you Google outside, we all have it. I mean, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, right? It's unique to financial institutions is there where our regulator requirements comes into the picture. So I recall one of the event I have, I participate and have a speaker. He is engineering. And he publicly say, what's the meaning of cloud? Why showing the word cloud? Because there's no meaning at all. Because actually, in a nutshell, is a virtualization of infrastructures. So, but because everyone using cloud, so that's what I should refer to that. So, from a financial service perspective, right? As a regulators in the regions, more or less has been seeing that is coming. They don't really stand out and say no, you can't. Rather than they give and share some certain guidelines about that. We might touch on it later on. But financial industries, in particular in insurance, as you see within my organization as well as other peers, we're moving toward that infrastructures as utility. That's the way we need to go to. So it is, in fact, that is an internal virtualized of infrastructures, servers, so on and so forth, where possible. It's not everything, because some certain thing is still supposed to be in the physical forms. But that, as I think in the Keith's presentation, basically it's just the delivery of the infrastructure service as of today. Thus, we have a common platform, virtualized, easy to turn up, easy to take it down, so on and so forth. And whether we manage internally or we are looking out for the external service in certain strategic approach, that's where it is. And it will be continued to moving towards that directions. That's from my own view.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Marcus. Keith, from your standpoint, I'd like to hear it because you put it in your presentation. You've got the regulatory, interfaces. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think to be Okay. To be technical.
And switch microphones there.
Okay. Hello.
Okay. Try holding it up. Hold. Test. Can you hear? Hold it up here, like that. Okay.
Hello. Anyway, to be technical about it, I think there's a definition of the cloud from the NSIT.
Hello. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
There's a definition of the cloud from the National Institute of Standards and Technology from the U.S. Department of Commerce. So maybe it's a very long definition. Talks about five essential characteristics. Basically, I think I can only remember a few. Maybe the first one is a pay-per-use model. I think it has to be elastic, available, agile, and the rest. And there are service models like the software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. And there's also another, what they call the kind of cloud, private private, public, and the community cloud, and there's one hybrid cloud, and a lot of marketing terms coming up like backup as a cloud or what. So many things coming up. But I think the bottom line is, again, dissect what you need, okay, what business case you have, and then match it. No, you may, like in our case, I was never thinking about the cloud when we started our Swift, and we were never thinking about the cloud. What we thought of was, okay, this is my business case. These are the models we have, from options, from how to use technologies, and we just chose this particular model. Now, our enterprise, our future proofing of our data center, I mean, it's not really, well, they call it, some people call it a private cloud, some call it a virtualized data center. But at the end of the day, you have to add value as a technology guy in your bank, okay? You have to add value to the shareholders, and I think that's the value we put into it. We achieve the optimization. IT optimization is the most important thing, and these are just the tools we use. Okay? We know there's virtualization. Now, the thing is, we did not achieve it also overnight. Remember, we had a 3-year journey. You have to educate also our management. What is this cloud thing? And everybody was talking about cloud. When I was at the board, they were showing me their iPhone. You know, that's not the one. Really, you have to educate them. So my suggestion is really to define it. You have to. It's like a big elephant. You cannot eat it in one time. Maybe piece by piece, let your management realize what cloud benefits you can give, okay? And I think that is the best definition you can use to get things going.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. I think it's an educational process, and you know, we've labeled cloud in different perspectives in terms of the types, service delivery models. But what I think what we're seeing in industry is it's all starting to converge, and I think the important point, as far as the regulatory environment, I'll save the next question. I think there's a catch-up, and rightfully so, maybe. Again, I think the business case drives it, but I think the regulators globally, not just in Singapore, are really trying to figure out how that impacts things like personal privacy, data, core banking systems, which are critical to the economy of each country. So anyway, okay, we'll move on to the next question. Let's take the one related to there's a big movement in the United States, for example, and I'm familiar with being a former U.S. guy. I'm a Hong Kong guy now. Major governmental entities are now moving to the cloud in a very big way. They have a mandate by the Congress, a regulatory or legislative body of the United States, to cut costs in every perspective they can. So the Department of Defense, NSA, everyone that you would consider not being able to outsource are doing it and moving to the cloud. And I'll leave this question, Arun, from an Asia-Pac standpoint. Do you ever see that kind of happening?
Well, it may happen in future, but I mean, I'll tell you the unique problem which is there in APAC. APAC is not just one country and not one regulatory body. So we are in Singapore. MAS governs, what is good, what is bad, and so on. You go to Hong Kong, you're from Hong Kong, HKMA drives that. You go to India, it's RBI which drives it, and so on. You go to Australia, there is a different regulator. So not everybody is on the same page with respect to what security standards, minimum security standards are required to be compliant with any cloud movement. So that's one issue, okay? And the second issue is, of course, in terms of the security understanding of the security policy. There is a lot of debate about private cloud is secure, public cloud is not secure, then there is a hybrid cloud as well. I just want to ask a simple question. Are we saying if we don't do cloud, we'll be fully secure? I mean, cloud is a new concept. There have been data breaches, there have been security lapses in your on-premises kind of setups as well, which means more than kind of blaming the cloud, it's about really seeing how the security policies and privileges are given in a particular organization and kind of try to make them robust. Because otherwise, to whatever level of security you go to, you will still find people sharing their passwords or having password 123 as the default password and so on. So it's more about control and execution of security policy. So I'm not saying security policy is not there. It's about in a robust manner kind of following it. So I think until we get to that maturity, it'll be difficult to get over that inertia. There is definitely an inertia.
Yeah, I think those are excellent points. And one area to look at in particular is certifications by the service provider, which are, critical. But there's other ways that you can get comfortable. I think the transparency is, and I work a lot with, CSPs, managed service providers. The level of transparency has just increased exponentially in terms of what you are able to control from your standpoint, but but the direction still needs to come with you in having an integrated approach to security. Good, excellent point. Marcus?
Yes, basically, I would like to go in the same line of what Arun has shared, but we bring in also some certain a kind of different perspective, from regulations point of view. So basically, yes, it's APEC. In my area, I have 14 countries, exclude Japan. Definitely, I have 14 regulators. But from my personal view and what I'm seeing around within the industry, especially in the interaction with MAS for Singapore and other countries, regulator doesn't not necessarily, really that so-called discourage in terms of financial institutions to looking forward to have a better delivery service for infrastructures as well as the IT service delivery models. So, but in one sense, we don't, or we are at this point, I don't think we can see any prescriptive guidelines coming from any regulators in the regions about cloud service in specific terms. Because, regulators so far in the regions, same for Australia, Hong Kong, and Singapore, they try to sharing the certain so-called guidelines in the existing framework they have, outsourcing guideline, technology risk management guidelines, something in that sense, business continuity. But the theme very much is on the same line. I can see across the board is very much is the same thing. You know where your data is, no commingled or sharing of the data across the jurisdictions, capability able to audit the service providers, and also have a term and conditions for you to get out of the contract when you need. And last but not least, the board is our accountability of that move. So by all means, you are saying that you're going to cloud, any kind of cloud platform, but the board directors are fully accountable for that. So with that, basically, we see that it's kind of, we can work with regulators in the specific condition of organization and in the regions where we have to move forward with the cloud virtualization. For other industry, I'm not sure, but I believe same like what Jerry just mentioned in the U.S. In our countries, basically, I believe that the government agencies are already working on that virtualization platform on the government base for all the agencies. Probably already there, and IDA definitely is one no best about that.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. Very, very good observation. We'll leave one last question, and as it relates to data, as it relates to BI, and I'll turn that over to Arun, our expert on the panel. What are the main challenges of hosting big data financial applications? I think that's to me, I know that's a concern with a lot of my clients and how they address the big data challenge.
I think big data on cloud. So big data itself is a concept, it's a hyped word, right? So at times people, they have not really sorted out their basic BI functionality and they try to get onto this board of big data. So I think having a kind of doing a reality check is most important. Really kind of get into the fusion exercise to really come out with the broad business cases you believe which could warrant implementation of big data. That's second. So again, going back to the same point, business case should drive whether you should invest into big data or not. Having said that, you need to understand companies, be it in financial sector or telco or retail primarily, everybody is investing into it. So there is a hygiene factor there as well. So the key is any data which is customer sensitive, it's a straight no-no, in terms of putting onto a client. But then it's not that all the data is customer related. There could be a need of heavy crunching of data with respect to numbers. So if you just see the numbers, you cannot really make sense of those numbers. So if it goes to that peak in demand wherein a particular time of your day or month or year, you need real heavy crunching. So that the two things which you could do is you install the hardware and associated software on-prem, or you could kind of go to a cloud provider only for that activity or application piece. You could leverage them. That is the, I would say, the obvious business case that I see in which even for big data crunching, number crunching, cloud providers like AWS and Microsoft Azure could be used. Until we get to a common platform and that maturity that the platform is absolutely secure, the privileges are executed, and so on.
Okay, great. Thanks, Arun. I think we're just about there. Again, I'll give the audience any last chance for. We have room for maybe one question. Any particular questions? We've got some very good experts here. Done some excellent work in terms of the presentation. Anything out there that you particularly would like to know?
So with the increased trend of banks or insurance company getting in regionalization, right? Do you see this added the increased complexity and sophistication for leveraging and adopting clouds?
I'll take a first stab. By all means, yes. So big data, as you would have seen the last slide that I presented, different technologies which are there, right? So if you just know SQL, for example, and then you're trying to embark on big data journey, then you will not be able to do it. You need statistics, maths understanding, you need the associated Hadoop understanding and the core features which are offered by Hadoop, which is the underlying big data technology. So, and that goes for cloud as well. One difference that I can tell you, if let's say cloud is going to be the order of the day, is going to be in terms of the profile which companies will look forward to. We need to understand if you go for a cloud kind of model, you're also dictated by what cloud vendor is offering you. So it'll be more about managing your relationship with cloud vendor, because ultimately everything is being done there, right? So the profile of the people that we see and the employability landscape will also change once this whole thing will get the wider acceptance.
Keith, your observation?
Yeah. Hello.
There we go. Found a good one.
I think, what I've been observing in some of the sessions here in this conference, I think there's been some move to put in certain guidelines and certification on cloud. And I think what is mentioned also about the different views from the different countries. No? Maybe to really move the cloud concept or model up to make it really, maybe there's one, I've heard of the ASEAN integration coming up. Maybe IDA probably can initiate, whoever can have that idea, maybe put it into the agenda on how to maybe to come up with the guidelines for the region, how to work on the cloud. And I think that would clear up also a lot of directions. But again, as I said, there will never be a framework that will satisfy everyone. And if you can, maybe at least you know the framework, and then you know where to pick which model you can use for your business case. I think that's still the end. I will see.
Okay, I think we're out of time. I would like to thank you, gentlemen. I think great panel discussion as well as presentations. And I want to thank the audience. Hopefully you're going to leave here with some pretty valuable information. And I think more importantly, who to contact if you need some help. Okay, thank you.